Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to this very special Wednesday night with Dr. Mask. Um, I don't really do these because I'm terrible at it, but let's see how this goes. No, I'm just kidding.
You can call me you can call me Mark too if you want.
Mark.
Whatever you want.
Um, I'm sure a lot of people know Dr. Mask, the name around Twitter and conventions and things like that. Very, very active in the comic book community. And he is coming out, he came out and it's just launched today with his own, I don't know what you want to call it. Is it it's not a
It's tough.
comic, but it's like an illustrated.
Yeah, I just say it's like the greatest hits of Edgar Allan Poe and Black, White, and Scarlet,
Okay.
and it's it's more of an illustrated book with um, sequential art and end pages or covers or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, so I wanted to have him on and talk about it. I am actually contributing to the book, but it's an interesting project to me because I start haranguing people. Like I love comics, you know, but I also like other stuff, and sometimes I think that the comic community gets kind of like myopic when it comes to comics, and that's their sole focus. Like if they're looking at influences, they're just pulling from other comics. I'm like, it's okay to like pull from the good stuff. Like go back to like great literature, old silent movies, and just kind of mix that all together into something new. I just feel like there's a bit of a recycle problem in comics. So this project is really interesting to me just because of that. I am a Poe fan. I think isn't everybody a Poe fan? I don't think I've ever met somebody who doesn't like Poe, but I could be wrong.
You'd be surprised.
So
I,
yeah,
I'd say there's more people that don't really know Poe than I wouldn't say they don't like them. I would say they just don't know them.
yeah, I can see that. Maybe even younger people too. So let's start off with who are you? Tell me about the project, sort of how you got into it, and actually comics in general, sort of.
Yeah. I'm Mark Brando. Um, let's see. Starting with comics. So I had comics forever. I always remember having comics as a kid. Any kind of comic that was around, I would read it. It didn't matter, everything from like Richie Rich and Little Lulu all the way up to uh, Sergeant Rock, and then Batman, Spider Man, Superman, whatever. I would read it. Um, so I remember. It's funny. I just this just kind of came to mind and within the last few weeks. But I remember being like 8 years old or something, or 9 years old, and saying I'm going to write my own comic book. And so I got some lined paper out, and I decided that I was going to do a comic book that included every character that I knew.
The ultimate lawsuit.
Yes. And so I think I got about 30 pages handwritten into that before I abandoned that project.
Wow, that's pretty far.
But
Uh,
I did manage to write the meeting between Spider-Man and Kiss. So that was
Man, okay. For the record, I would have read that book. Um, I do feel like I know this is a tangent already, but more people should do sort of like underground mishmashes of like superheroes. Unauthorized Kiss meets Spider-Man or something like that. Like maybe back in the day they couldn't get away with it, but I feel like today there's so much stuff out there. You could probably get away with like throwing something out there, put a pen name and see what happens.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I saw a post on X just a little bit earlier of a Betty Boop horror movie, and I'm like thinking to myself, this is the argument against public domain right here.
It is, yeah. Like, isn't there like a Winnie the Pooh horror and all? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
not a fan of that
Mickey
anymore.
Mouse,
But
well, Steamboat
yeah.
Willie, I guess technically, but yeah,
Yeah, they just make it all like horror stuff. Um, But anyway,
Yeah.
so you got into comics, and the comics that you post a lot, I find are like old comics, which is why I'm interested because they're definitely comic books before my time. So to
Hmm.
me, it's a lot of art I haven't seen before, so it always sticks out. Um, is that sort of your prefer? Do you have like a certain age that you like, or just
I would say the whole the whole thing with the posting the Golden Age comics came about because I wanted to put like something out onto Twitter every day that I was interested in. But I noticed some people would post like four covers, and I'd look on my little phone and there'd be four little tiny, and I'm like, this is too much, you know. And they wouldn't. Another thing, well, let me not get ahead of myself, but so I'm like, well, let me stick with one. And the Golden Age stuff, a lot of it too, I haven't really discovered, right? So like every day when I go to, I'm getting ready to do this cover that I post. I have no idea what I'm going to post. You know, I go and I look, and I'm like, what mood am I in? And I'll click on whatever. Like for October, I did horror ones every day, right? But for other times, it's just whatever. Like I did a war one for Veterans Day, you know. But I just felt like focusing on the one. I try to give credit to the people that did it, which is that's very important to me. Probably people have seen that ad nauseum in my post about my book because I try to give credit to everybody that's in the post as much as possible, you know. But
yeah, yeah, especially those old things that like we don't have access to. I don't recognize the artist. I really have no context for a lot of that stuff. There's only a certain period of comics where oh yeah, that's a Gil Kane, that's a blah blah blah. Outside of
right,
that,
right.
I'm really it's kind of anybody's guess. Yeah, that's cool. I love that stuff because I never see it. Um, so let's just yeah. So how did you? What was the first idea for this book that you're doing
Um,
now?
well, I've been into post since I was probably in junior high, maybe before, you know. It's when I discovered them, you know, it was probably the Telltale Heart or something like that that I had read. And then through high school, I had a really cool English teacher, um, and he didn't like to do like the standard book report things. So he gave you like four or five different things you could try. Um, and one of them was do a shooting script, like a movie script for a book that you read, you know. And so I started doing that. And I remember the first one I did was White Fang. I think I still have it. And I was convinced I had to do the entire novel. So
Oh my
my
god.
book report was like this thick, and he gave me a 90 on it. He said because it was late. Otherwise, I would have
Oh,
gotten 100 on it. He's like, because I went so overboard. But after that, it's all I did for my reports for this guy was like shooting scripts, and which kind of fit right into the comic thing, you know, the visualizing the scene and for my final thing I did for him, I did a shooting script for Frank Miller's Ronin. So
that's a great book.
that
You
is
don't
like the
hear
epitome.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Edgar Allan Poe,
Yep.
was it sort of like your entrance into like literature across the board, or your first like horror author,
Yeah.
or
I think part of it was some of it had to do with it being a short story. Um, I find a lot of, you know, I don't have the attention span sometimes for big, long, drawn out novels. I mean, I do read them, um, but I find I got to one point and I realized that I was a slow reader. And I'm like, if I'm going to read, you know, not going to read that many books, I'm going to make sure the books I read are worth reading, you know. So, but but the post stuff, I just kept coming back to it. You know, wish I had it with me, but I still have it from probably when I was in high school. It's called Portable Poe. It's a big, thick paperback that has a bunch of his stuff in it. And I mean, for years, I would just, and I have other books too, you know, but that one, was something I could throw in my bag. And if I wanted to read a quick story, I could read it, you know. And I just read them
I
over and over.
I actually think I have that same book. That's the only Poe book that I have too.
Really?
Does it
It's
have
got
like
like a
gold or yellow on it or something?
it's got like a no, it's got like a red pinkish. It's got a raven on the front.
Yeah, okay, then I don't have that one. But
Yeah,
I had a giant collected Poe. Same. I mean, there's a bunch of those out there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because in a weird way, Poe was. I mean, you can always do the comparison to like Lovecraft or something like that. But Poe to me was actually horror. Like Lovecraft can be entertaining and interesting and engaging, but it's rare that it's I don't there's nothing really terrifying or horrific about Lovecraft for the most part for me a lot of times. But Poe, 100% of the time, it really is. Um, so once you get into Poe, does that take you to any authors, or is it like this is sort of like the
It's
height?
yeah. It was more of the short story type thing, right? So like I would read Ray Bradbury too, because he had a lot of short stories, you know. And I
Great,
was into
yeah.
science fiction, but you know how your life goes. I mean, it kind of ebbs and flows. Like I was really into horror, then like comics, I was really into superheroes. Now I'm not into superheroes so much. So um, the last few years I've gotten into reading more like Robert E. Howard stuff. You know, I'm in the middle of my second Doc Savage novel. So
Those are fun.
yeah, it just it ebbs and flows. But after I think a lot of the stuff that I read when I was reading a lot in high school and stuff were classics. Um, I went through a period where I just couldn't get enough Shakespeare, you know, and I would just read Shakespeare. And
Wow.
my mom had bought me these. I can't remember the exact name of them now, but it was these Shakespeare. It was on vinyl, and you get the vinyl record, and then you get like a copy of the play with it. So you'd play, and it was like a dramatization of the
Hmm.
play. And I would just sit there and listen to that and read it, And um, I still have the books from it. The records are long gone, but I still have the books. But yeah, so like I said, I wanted to make sure, since I was a slow reader, I was going to read something that was worthwhile. Like I've read Dracula a couple of times, and things like that.
Yeah, I actually hate, I shouldn't say I hate it, but people that say, oh, I read all the time, I read this. I'm like, oh, well, what do you read? And they just give me the most like trashiest books, which is fine. I'm not saying I haven't read trashy books or, throwaway books. But like you said, if like at a certain point, it's kind of a waste of time. Like read the good stuff, at least to compare it. Like read Poe and Steinbeck and all of these great authors. At least so you have that as a basis, and then read the other stuff. And then you'll find out for sure why Poe is considered the best. It's not there's a lot of musicians that are sort of lauded as, the greatest band, this or that, and they don't deserve the title. And you're like, why are they considered the best? Um, well, if you don't know enough about music, if you don't have like the context, then you might never understand why they're the best. That was a little bit of a rambly, but so um, so you're into Poe, and now you're like, okay, you've had images in your head for all of these years for these stories for sure. So you just
Yep.
start reaching out to some authors, or I'm sorry, artists.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things I'll say is I'm highly motivated by negative things for some reason. so, so like a few years ago, I played some card game, and I thought the card game was terrible. And I'm like, how did this thing get published? So I spent the next 4 years learning game design, board game design, because I'm like,
Hmm.
I can do something better than this piece,
Wow.
and get it published. And and so you know, with everything, especially Poe, there's a lot of adaptions. There's a lot of, whether they're, movies or cartoons or, you know, um, comic books. And I happened across a comic, And I'm like, oh, I had seen it around, and I'm like, I hadn't checked it out, so I'm like, let me check it out, because at one point I was like, if it's Poe, I'm just going to buy it, I'm not even gonna. But for whatever reason, I didn't like the way this was presented or whatever. But I'm like, I'll try it out, and I was angry after I read some of it, and I'm like, why does this have his name on it? Because I mean, if your goal is to make fun of him, then don't put his name on it.
Yeah.
So after that, I'm like, you know what? I think maybe there's a few reasons. One, obviously, I always love Poe. Two, there was that motivation where I don't want this to be a comic representation, the only comic representation of Poe. And the other thing is that, um, my son, he's a senior this year, and he had told me that they had read no Poe his whole his whole career in school. He
No
wouldn't know who Poe
kidding.
was unless I was around.
Oh man, that hurts.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so I'm like, well, this would be a good, uh I don't want to say the TikTok generation, but a good like
Yeah.
entry point. Get a
Hmm.
taste of it, and you can go from there.
I mean, there's no doubt that illustrations can be the entryway into reading a novel. Like, I guarantee you, somebody saw the Frankenstein, the Wrights and Frankenstein stuff, and like, you know what? I'm gonna finally sit down and read Frankenstein because of those.
Right.
I mean, I'm one of those people. I always judge books by their covers, and I judge people by their books. And so I think it's a perfect way to get people reading things they wouldn't normally read. So let's pull up the campaign.
Okay. You sure you want me to share?
You can share that way. You can scroll through and show
Okay.
whatever stuff you want to highlight.
Uh,
Um, and you went with Fund My Comic.
yep.
What was the sort of um, was there any reason that over Kickstarter or a different platform? Did you find an advantage over that, or is it just you were going to try this?
Um, Mostly it came my love of Fun My Comic came about from what I saw some creators going through on Indiegogo.
Yeah,
They, there was guys getting shadow banned, and then Mike Barron actually had a book on there. Um, I believe it was Private American, which was about. Um, I'm trying to remember what country he was from, but he was an immigrant that you know was basically um, a soldier, and he was fighting like drug cartels at the border. And somebody somewhere wrote something about it. Keep in mind, it's a book that hasn't even been published yet, and they yanked his campaign down. Now, I don't quote me. I don't know if it was Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but one of them had pulled it down.
yeah,
And so, Fund My Comic was like, look, we're not gonna, we have some rules, but we're not gonna take people's, stuff down because they voted the wrong way, or we don't like the subject of their book, or whatever else.
yeah.
So that was one reason. The other reason was Luke Stone, who runs it. He actually helped me design, uh, do the
Oh,
character design for Dr. Mask,
oh, that's cool.
and did the logos as well. So um,
Yeah, everything looks great.
it's also got
It,
1% fee, so it's less than the other
yeah,
one.
yep. So 29% funded, and you launched today. What time was it? At three
Three
forty. So
thirty, three
yeah,
forty.
that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. 3:30 is when I was on Andy Smith's show. So
Awesome. Oh yeah, let's watch the trailer.
all right. Oh, getting mouse happy.
Awesome.
I love the ending of that for the music in that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are those like were those all the stories that that
Yeah, that's it.
that's
That's
cool.
everything that's in it. It's one poem and the rest are stories.
Cool. Um and yeah, I say scroll through it and kind of we'll look
Okay.
at some of the art and
So this is the cover A, uh, which is by Ricardo Jaime. Um, he actually did one of the interior story. He did Fall the House of Usher, and it was so amazing. I'm like, just do the cover too. So I
yeah,
had the
that's awesome.
basic idea of the image, but he wanted to take it a little bit different way. And after seeing his other piece, I'm like, just go with it, you know. He's like, so it turned out great. So, um, and we got cover B, which is a homage to Midnight Number One, which probably nobody knows.
I didn't.
um, but it's 1957. I just thought every time I see this cover, um, it reminds me of Poe. You know, it's got the red, it's got the clock, it's got
Yeah.
the cat. So I'm like, it was a no brainer for me. So that's Greg Murray and Dan Kemp did the colors on it. um, and then there's a newsprint version, limited to 100 copies. Just a different logo, but it made sense newsprint to go with the homage cover. Um, and we have this is kind of what a better look of what it's going to be like inside. This is Preston Azevedo. Um,
Yeah, that's great.
um, so this is a three pack for $31.99. Each of the bundles you get a little bit of a discount on. This is Jim Whitting's version of the lake. The lake is a poem that I hadn't really known up until maybe 6 months ago or something. And I was reading it and I was like, and we were talking back and forth because Jim helped out a lot in this book. He did like all the graphic design, like this border here and then stuff. He did that. Um, and he's like, oh, I could do that. I'm like, okay, you know. So I had a completely different take on it, but to me, his is superior than what I thought. So, um, but that's his. Um, got a digital for $5.99. Um, this is interiors by Christian Rossi. Um, so the sequentials are done by him. It's lettered by Keith Gleason
Yep.
from Mighty Mascots. I'd say what Christian is from, but he's done a bunch of different stuff. So
Yeah, he's
it's
top
kind of
notch.
known.
Yeah.
T-shirt, which I didn't know I was going to do a T-shirt until I saw he did this image for me for Fun My Comic, and I'm like, how about
That's
doing
cool.
Edgar Allan Poe book? So he did that too. So turned out great. The team, which is extensive, like I said, Jim Whitting helped a lot with this book. Um, he's got his own comic, Margot the Intergalactic. I don't know. I can't believe I keep screwing this up. Intergalactic trash collector. I keep.
That's fun.
Yeah. Um, but so then we talk about Luke Stone and the logos. Um, and we go to the interiors. Rob Geronimo did Descent into Maelstrom. Rob, who does Blood Realm and Wirehead. Alexei Gorbut, I saw him on Twitter. He has a lot of fantasy art, and stuff is amazing. So I'm like, fantasy 17, 1800 stuff. It's not
Yeah.
that far, is it? But it turned out great. Jim's the Lake, Preston's Never Bet Your Head to the Devil, and Peter Gilmore, who did Jack the Ripper Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're not showing the whole images too. I like just getting the thumbnail.
Yeah,
Um,
it was so hard.
I think actually that's the way to go. Just showing a little bit of art, really figuring out like the layout of it, the style of it. But if you show all the illustrations, I just think it sucks the fun out of it. Like I think
Yeah,
that's, yeah,
and the ones I did share were shared for a reason, for the most part, because like, first of all, I need to have some to share. Second of all, like the original for Preston's is on the campaign. So
yep,
um, Anthony Pugh, who I met at IC3, which is an independent comic convention at in Connecticut. Um, yeah, I saw some of his stuff, and I'm like, I think he didn't have a lot of horror, but he did have some. He had a lot of superhero, which I'm assuming people buy that, So, but his horror stuff was awesome. So I'm like, oh, you should do this. So um, there's the interior that Ricardo did for Fall House of Usher. Um, he's going to be sad because he really wants to share this image. He's like, he was saying he thought it was one of the best ones he's done. So,
oh wow,
but anyway, Kevin Conrad, Premature Burial, Kevin, Kiss Psycho Circus, Spawn. So,
wow.
did you read Psycho Circus? Or I know you're a Kiss fan, but
No, I don't know.
no, it's a great series. I have this big giant compendium. It's like 10 pounds or something. That has all the Kiss comics in it.
Now I have to get it. Yeah, I always saw it, and in my head, it was just like, I just never thought it would be good. I mean,
Okay. Now I was,
um,
other than the first Marvel ones, which I'm probably just very nostalgic for,
yeah,
it's the best version of Kiss that I've read. But
I will definitely check that out.
um, Brian Bell, who we both know, but he did Murders in the Rue Morgue, and it's
Cool.
amazing. Uh, and this guy here did a really good job.
Yeah. I'm just glad you introduced me to a new story. I mean, not that I know every Poe story, but that one in particular, it was short and sweet, and it was I really it was one of my favorites now, actually. I
Yeah,
don't know if it was just because it was new. I just kept on thinking of the picture of Dorian Gray too every time I was reading it.
right. Yep, yep.
Um, but because it also leaves a lot to like, there's a lot of reading in between the lines for that. So that was a lot of fun. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love drawing vacuum cleaners on people's heads all day long. But when the opportunity presents itself to draw something else, it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah. Well, I mean, uh, it was you or Kevin, where one of you was like the most excited about the story they were going to, because, he's just like, I got to do this, It's like, I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, that's what I want, I want somebody that's going to like what they're drawing, you're going to get the best stuff.
Yeah, as soon as you read a story and you have a picture in your head, it's just like, well, it's got to come out one way or the other. Maybe it's a sketch, or maybe it's a thumbnail that nothing comes of it, or if it's a final illustration. Uh, yeah, sometimes you don't have to struggle, and when you don't have to struggle, man, that's rare. So I say like jump on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I revisit that one a lot because like I think it's as short a story. It's just so easy to read. And but I mean the cool thing, another cool thing about doing this book is like I discovered things I never knew, like, and I had shared it with you, but that there was a different beginning to the story that he had changed, you know?
Yeah,
And after reading it, I'm like, well, I'm glad he did change it. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but I just think it's better the way it is, you know? So
yeah. Oh, there's some people in chat here. Coco Shuko Papa Shango. Hey, thanks for popping in again. Edgar bro. I think that's what that means. That cover has great composition. Yeah, I think he was talking about the midnight one.
yeah.
Yeah, fantasy horror. I don't want to say it's all the same thing, but man, it shares a lot. And um, for some reason in my head, it's like you're either like a superhero artist or you're like horror fantasy. I know there's overlap. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I just it's like John Buscema or somebody. He's like, okay, listen, I'll draw the Avengers, but I want to be drawing Conan.
Right.
And when he does Avengers, it's amazing, but when he does Conan, it
Next
doesn't get
level.
any better than that.
Yeah.
Hey, John's from Long John's Longbox. How's it going? Hey, at work, just pop it in. He's building skyscrapers or radio nuclear power plants. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Is that what he does now?
I don't know.
See, he's
Uh,
working overtime. I after I heard it, I can't remember where I heard it. Um, it was probably the president or something, but it said that with the new AI, they're going to need 3,500 3,500 more electricians just to build things for AI.
really,
Yeah. So I said to my son, "Hey,
that's
electrician."
interesting. Yeah, yeah. The infrastructure is going to have to adapt to the demand. Yeah, that's a whole other ball
Yeah.
of wax. But
We don't want to go down that road, but
yeah, hopefully in the short term, there's some opportunity. We'll say that.
right before our AI overlords take over.
Yeah.
Anyway, Richie Acosta uh, did the Mask of the Red Death. Daniel Alvarez did the inks for it. Richie, for whatever reason, doesn't ink his own work. So this was inked digitally. Um, T-shirt. Uh, Jim did all these sketch cards, and they're on these Dr. Mask stock. So
Cool.
you can choose which one you want. They're one of one. Um, the sketch cards are limited to 10 each, and we might add more later, but right now they're 10. Depends on how much the artist can do. But Jim decided just to sit down and do a bunch of them. So
That's
so here
fun.
they are. Um, um, then Kevin Conrad sketch cards. A little bit different, more of like a headshot, but he does some color in it too.
Cool.
Um, and this is the promo card. Everybody that signed up will get original art. So never bet your head to the devil. Have you ever read that story?
Mm-mm.
You can either read it or I can send you. I'll find it. There's a old time radio show that did an adaptation of it. It's
Hmm.
phenomenal, but it's a funny story. And when I had him do this, I kind of wanted it to have like, obviously it's horrific. These guys' heads are sitting here, but they got kind of that goofy look on their face, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, so that one's, and then Mask of the Red Death. Like I said, it's digitally inked, so this is the original. Stretch goals. So my biggest concern about this book was that it doesn't contain the complete stories on most of them. And so 1400, everybody gets a digital copy of this book, which will be a collection of all the full length stories.
Awesome.
Even though it's public domain, you can find it anywhere. I figure
Yeah.
this makes it easier. Um, Next stretch goal is a print, and this is Jim Whitting's colors for this print. The one in the book has just the reds, which is done by Dave Kemp. So, and then we have a Poe sticker, which we'll unlock later. I'll just go back up and talk briefly about a couple of tiers or whatever. There's a button you can get. This is all in one, $65.99. You get the 3 books, a T-shirt, and a button. And then there's Preston's piece, Richie's piece. Sketch cards for Kevin can be whatever you want. You just, once you back it, I'll just reach out to you and ask what you want. And like I said, the Jim Whitting ones are 1 of 1. So
Color sketch cards are fun.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing the differences I see in some, sketch cards. But that is about it. Yeah.
Looks great, and it's 45 days, right? Is that?
Yep. 45 days to go. We got 9 backers. Which I was on Rex's channel for 2.5 hours. So
Wow.
we get talking on there, and it's like, holy smokes!
Yeah.
What time is it? But yeah, it's good fun.
So digging into the stories, to be honest, I don't know either. I don't know a lot of the stories that you mentioned, or like, why did you pick these particular stories as opposed to other ones? Did you want
Yeah.
to like mix popular ones with sort of unknown stories?
Well, the only thing I knew for sure is I wasn't going to do the Raven, because first of all, it's the first book, and the second thing is I wanted it more focused on horror, which he has. He does have, like, I consider some of his stuff more like fantasy, but um, but as far as what this one, uh, like this one, I specifically picked for Rob. Um, I had reached out to him, and I'm like, "Do you have a favorite Poe?" And he said The Raven. I'm like, "Well, I'm not doing The Raven." So, and he mentioned how we would do it, and I was just like, "Well, let me think about it." So then, reading this story, I'm like, I think Rob would do a great job in this. So that's how we ended up doing that one. This one was probably more about his artwork too. Like, I looked at his artwork and said he would do a good job at this. Um, this was just a conversation, and Jim's like, I could do that, and so he did it, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I like it. So, if you read the poem, I had just had a different idea, and he looked at the lake as more of like a love or a woman, so he came up with that visual, which was really cool. So Preston, I reached out to him because I've seen the covers he does, and I don't know how to put it other than like heavy metal,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Like a
and
Bisley type.
yeah. So I said, you know, and I wanted to do this, and I had already started. I think you'd seen me post about it at one point, but I had already started the game based on the story, a card game based on it. So I wanted to use the artwork for the card game too. So, so we went back and forth on it, and you know, he did an amazing job on that one. Peter Gilmore I reached out to, and he said, I gave him a choice. Hey, is there any you're interested in? And he chose The Pit and the Pendulum. Um, Anthony Pugh, honestly, I needed Cask of Amontillado to be in here because it's like one of my favorites. So, uh, and I saw his stuff, and we just, I just said, hey, would you like to do it? And he's like, yeah, sure. So, I don't remember how we got to this story. I think because I had seen his artwork, that he's great at drawing beautiful women,
Hmm.
and so I thought he would be a good fit for this one.
Beautiful, scary women.
Maybe. Uh, um, Kevin, he had spent, like I said, he had spent some time looking at the different stories and stuff, deciding on what he wanted to do, and then it took him some time to actually figure out how he was going to do it. So, um, but yeah, it was pretty much his decision on that one. Brian, I think I suggested Murders in the Rue Morgue, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool." So, um, and obviously, I think did I say to you, "Hey, is there any Poe stories you prefer?" And then you're like, "Let me think about it."
Yeah, I think you gave me a few options that were still
Okay,
sort of like,
okay, a few that were open. Okay, because I
yeah,
had in my
yeah,
mind a list, yeah, but
yeah.
the list changed.
I mean, as far as my favorite, I mean, Fall of the House of Usher is probably my favorite. I don't know. I
It
would say
is
there's like
great.
the top four or five that are just, The Pit and the Pendulum, Telltale Heart. Like those are all like endlessly revisitable, and
Hmm.
they still work.
Yep.
Whereas I feel like a lot of short story horror stuff, once you get to the end, it's like I don't really need to reread this. Like it's not. It's like I know the hook, I know the twist, whatever it is. It's there's really no point in rereading it. I think that's why Poe is so good because you can just keep rereading it. And it's just as good.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, me personally, it's Mask of the Red Death, Cask of Amontillado, um, probably the portrait. I keep saying okay, I got to explain this again. So I keep saying the portrait because there's a song by King Diamond called The Portrait. And they keep saying that, but it's the oval portrait. So, uh, but whatever. Um, that one, I mean, I love the story, but I probably read it more than any other one just because of the length of it. Um, and Fall of the House of Usher too. I mean, that one's
Yeah.
amazing.
I think it's one
Um,
of the reasons why I love Rats in the Walls so much because it's like Fall the House of Usher with rats and devolved things underneath it. It's just like one level deeper than Fall the House of Usher. Yang Yang Chow,
uh,
how's it going? Thanks for popping in. Awe inspiring. It looks great. I love you know, I'm biased. I'm one of the artists involved, but all the other artists, I love the different styles. I love the different stories that were picked in the end. Um, some new ones, some ones people aren't familiar with. So I'm pretty excited about it. Real
yeah.
quick about the Mask of the Red Death. So years ago, I sculpt resin models. I don't do it as much as I used to, but I've done a lot. And I was like, okay, I want a series of models to sell. And I had done Lovecraft one, I had done Jacob Marley, I had done I was sort of like shotgun kind of thing. And I'm like, I would love to do some Poe stuff. And I'm like, I'll do Mask of the Red Death. And it's like once a movie like codifies a look, it's like that is what things look like for eternity, almost like Frankenstein, right?
Right.
So Mask of the Red Death is just like the movie Mask of the Red Death. Like if you read it, it's so vague. I'm like, I can't really get anything to like hold on to really for the character to sculpt.
Yep.
And it didn't, and I didn't realize that until many years later when I reread it, and I'm looking for like a tangible physical thing, and I'm like, there's not much to sculpt. I would have to be aping the movie, the famous
Right.
image of the movie for my sculpture. But so I'm really excited to
So,
see what he did with that.
so you, what was I going to say? Um, so you ended up not doing that, I guess, huh?
No, I mean, I've been back and forth on what will sell and what won't for sculptures, and not much will sell
Yeah.
nowadays unless
Not
it's a
much was
Marvel or DC property. But just
that
like,
sucks.
not to go off too much, but I before like 10 years ago, I'm like, I'm gonna sculpt and I'm gonna sell sculptures. And the stuff you start with the stuff that you love, right? Like what you're doing right now. And I love Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky. I love Stein. I love all of this like classic lit stuff. And it would be great to do it like a little scene, a sculpture from all of those books. Crime and Punishment. Oh, I had the best thing. It was, anyway. And then I just kept on asking people, and I'm like, "Would you buy that?" And these are people that have read the books, which is already a minority of people.
Right, right.
And they're like, "It sounds like a cool idea, but no, I wouldn't buy it." I'm like, "All right, well, like if the people that read the books won't even buy it, then there's just zero chance."
Yeah, that was,
Um,
I did read that one, Crime and Punishment. Yeah.
um, why was I saying? Oh yeah. So anyway, all of these stories do, for the most part, have really cool visual, like iconic, Pit and the Pendulum. Like they're really cool visuals that you can grasp onto, as opposed to, not to keep bringing up Lovecraft, but where you don't have that sort of thing that you can just immediately visualize. The Telltale Heart. I mean, such cool visuals.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I have to be honest. Like Lovecraft, I only discovered Lovecraft in like the last 10 years. You know, it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't even on my radar, and which seems weird to me now. But I'm like, well, let me try this out, and I found a bunch of audiobooks. And I
Yeah.
listened to them all, and obviously, that's just not the same. It's
Right.
like, and I would listen to them. I'm like, and there's definitely ones that jumped out at me, and I remember the story, but you just don't, you don't absorb it the same. I don't think
It.
you don't remember it as well.
Yeah, I only listen to audiobooks of books that I've read in the past. That way, if my mind wanders, like it's not a big deal. You can
Yep.
kind of pop
Yep.
in and pop out. Um, so the reason I bring up of Lovecraft, obviously he is sort of famous for trying to ape Poe.
Mhm.
Has he eclipsed Poe, do you think, in sort of pop culture? I mean,
I think now, yeah, probably. I mean,
um,
I don't. I mean, why is that? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Um, I think obviously Poe is he's better. I mean, I think objectively he's better. People can debate me on that, but I think ultimately Poe's a much better writer, and the content and the characters like across the board, he's a better writer. But yeah, maybe it's just introducing, like you said, that if there's a high school that's not even reading Poe, to me that's wild. So, maybe, these books and comic book adaptations of stories, maybe that is sort of like a thing that needs to get brought back up and introduced to people because they haven't had the opportunity. Because for people like me and you and most people that I know, we were introduced to Poe because he was so good. And then later on, you can go back and revisit it and you can build on those. Maybe you just read one story and then, but later on, you can go back and read the whole, compendium.
Yeah, it's
So this
amazing.
is,
Like you said, you don't even know. You don't know what you haven't read. You're like you go.
yeah,
Once you go back and you look and like, oh, I don't know what this is. There's a few things that I've of his that I've tried to read and I've gotten like a couple pages into it. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. You know, it's 2 pages about some mountains or something. Like, but
um,
but it's definitely cool to discover those new things that you haven't seen before, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully this is, this will introduce people to the stories, and what better way than some great art, if I do say so myself. Some
Yeah,
interesting art, some really cool.
I wish I could show everybody everything, but that would kind of ruin it. So, um, but yeah, Rex meant, I mentioned you, and he was like, oh, he does, he would be a great pulp artist.
Yeah, yeah, I had somebody reach out about doing sort of like a 1960s Flash Gordon type, you know, image. I would love to do that kind of stuff. Anytime I see pulp, like old pulp stuff, Doc Savage and all that stuff, the Shadow, I
Yep,
love all of that stuff. Nothing against superheroes, you know,
that's where
but
they all came from.
yeah, exactly. Um, but whenever I'm drawing, it's like sometimes if you play an instrument, the stuff you like to play isn't necessarily the stuff you like to listen to. It's just how it is. And
Okay.
for me, drawing, it's like I like more horror, fantasy, pulp stuff. If I do a comic book with like legit straight up superheroes, that would have to be a pretty unique take, I think. But this is absolutely up my alley. I'm gonna go read Poe now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can read that. Never bet your head to the devil.
Yeah, actually, I will check
Um,
that out. I have to
there's a
dig out.
there's another one too. He has. I always forget the name of it, but it's like Doctor Tar and something feathers, and it's about an insane asylum, and it's another like funny story that he did.
Man.
It's
Yeah, I'll definitely have to revisit some stuff. Cool.
I'm probably gonna
Well,
put that one in the next book, the tar and feathers ones, because it's ridiculous.
so you have other
Yeah.
things planned or
So yeah, if you want to know the upcoming projects I have, so my plan is to have this done and fulfilled no later than the end of March. Um, and then while that's going on, I've already started writing the script for the next one, which instead of just one page to begin with and one page to end, it's going to be I haven't quite figured out the format, but it's going to be at least 8 pages of
hmm.
sequentials.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool.
so it'll probably end up being a longer book, but I already I'll announce it here first, just because I like to chat with you. But the story uh, is Doctor Mask and um, two characters from Hot Frog. So
So you're gonna have to come up with like a name. Like this is a new sort of format. It's an interesting concept. The idea of like the sequential art sort of tying together like these short stories. Seriously, it's a very cool concept.
it's like, is it a pulp? Is it an art book? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting. There was a book that I bought a while back. It was at that pulp show. It was Steranko, and it was like, and I don't even know what it was called. It was like a narrative illustrated something, but it would have like an illustration, and it would have some text, and then so I don't know what that's called. It's like an
Yeah, I don't either.
illustrated novel, but I love those kind of like different takes on media like that. That's cool.
Yep, yep. So my goal is, so the next one is going to be A Dream Within a Dream, um, and it's going to be more fantasy focused. And
Okay.
then the plan after that is a third book, and what the title is at this point, I don't know, but
Man, that's awesome. How many pages is this total currently?
28 with the cover.
Okay.
So, and it's it's I, I want to say it's 90% done. It's like 95% done. The only thing left to do is to decide the winner of the art contest I had and put it in the book. So then it's just go to the printers and
I mean, that's nice from like your point of view, knowing that you already have that much of it done. And honestly, it's nice from a backer's standpoint because they know it's basically done, and this is just sort of raising money for the printing, sort of getting everything together and shipping it out. Yeah, I it's take what you will from it, but I actually think that's the way to go for the most part is to be at least most of the way done. As a backer, there's a lot of stuff out there, and are you going to get it? Is it going to be years? You don't know. I'd rather know at least have some sort of security that it's done. So that's great to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah. Personally, there's guys that I always back because they always deliver, like Fabricio. Um, but I literally have books that I've waited years for, and still don't have.
Yeah,
So it's like,
it sting.
and
Yeah,
and that I think that hurts everybody, but it definitely hurts that person because there's people that are gonna be like, I'm still waiting for this other book. Why? You know, so I don't know.
yeah. I mean, for me, my book, I'm going to be launching on the 22nd of November. It's 100% done. I already have proofs ordered. And for me, it was selfish in that like I don't have enough time to do like finish the art and launch. So it was like, all right, one thing at a time. For me, I needed to finish all the artwork first before I could even think about launching. So
Right.
I'm a one man show, so that unfortunately that's how it had to
Yeah.
happen. So
I uh I think that's one of the things about this format too that makes it. I feel like after doing this one, I feel like I could do the next one once the other one's fulfilled. I think I could have it done in like 6 months.
yeah,
Because you can have 10 artists working on stuff. All you're doing is doing, like I'll have the writing done before this campaign's over, and it's just coordinating everything. It's basically this book is like being a project manager. It's like
right.
really getting,
I I'm,
getting
I will say this though. I mean, you've done a great job in the consistent branding, which I feel is like really key. I mean, I harp on myself. I make sure that my branding is consistent and recognizable. Just because people don't when they're scrolling through Twitter, a split second, that's all you get sometimes.
yep.
So, I mean, good job on making everything really feel like cohesive because that takes skill. But yeah, like you
Thanks.
said, you've learned so much from this. The next one will be so much easier, and that really is how
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, just you're talking about scrolling through Twitter. I was chatting with messaging back and forth with David Lucarelli, and
Oh,
uh, and he said that he had seen something that said it takes somebody a minimum of 6 times to be exposed to something before they
hmm.
really even notice it. So
Oh man, I better post more then because um, there, like as a creator though, I mean, we all feel this way. It's like, oh, am I over like marketing? Am I posting too much? I actually don't think so, and I think everybody kind of, as a backer of many many things, I need that reminder because I'm like, okay, the first time you see it, am I interested? And then it's like, yep, yeah, you know what? I'll back that. And then the calendar goes by, and each day goes by, and then only when people are like, okay, it's closing in a few days, like, oh crap, I have got to go back this. And I think we all do that just because we have so
yep.
much stuff going on. So yeah, put it out there as much as you
Yeah, so
can,
don't
and
do
just
that. Don't do that. Back it right now.
yeah, you don't want to feel pressured at the end that you forgot to do something.
So
And go ahead.
no, I was going to say just a story about that sort of thing. So there was a book that I had planned. I'm like, I'm totally going to back this book. And I'm just like, let me wait till towards the end. So money, whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I get to the end. It's on Indiegogo. Indiegogo has some sort of issue. My account, you may have seen my rant posts
Hmm.
or whatever, but my account gets like locked out. Like I can't change my password. I can't log in. I can't do anything. And I'm like, so I can't back this book, you know? And And I'm like, well, it's my fault for waiting, I guess. But I mean, why isn't Indiegogo work? You know?
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, some things happen where the campaign didn't close right away, and then I was able to click on like a direct link to the book and back it. Um, I don't even know how it worked because, like I said, I
Yeah.
couldn't even log in. But for some reason, it actually worked, and I'm like, okay. But yeah,
Yeah,
and then once
you
game,
never know what happens.
yeah, once
Like
GameFound
things.
took over though, I was fine. I could just log in, no problem.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and
yeah.
honestly, I forget what books I back sometimes. Like
Well,
now
that was
this
the other
may
thing. I'm like, I'm locked out of my account. I don't even know what's in there. You know?
yeah, exactly. And I can't be just me. Either I'm like early onset Alzheimer's and I don't remember anything, but I constantly forget because in my head I see something I like, I'll do it later, and then it's like, did I do it? And then I have to go log in. Was that Kickstarter? Was that Fund My Comic? Like we all go through this sort of like this thing. So if you're out
The
there,
rope.
back this. And where can people find you on social media?
Um, I'm on X and Instagram,
I'll throw your X
and
in here.
I have an eBay store. Um, Everything's Dr. Mask Retro. I actually have a Poshmark store as well, but but I think those are the major ones. I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Threads, which is part of Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dr. Mask, pretty much Dr. Mask will get you anywhere that I am. So,
All
and
right.
I also have a
And
website too.
oh, what's the website?
Uh, it's just it's just Dr. Mask Retro.
Dr. Master. Okay. I'll throw that in there too.
There's not much there. It's just put your email address in right now. So
Yeah.
you get
I
an
still think
automated
it's
email.
very important to have a site still. I know some people kind of bypass it, but I think it's nice. It's nice to know that I don't know. There's some sort of internet outage on Twitter's getting attacked, so they're down. Whatever it is, it's like there's always a website you can go to and contact the person. So I'm very pro website. I am also a programmer of 25 years, so it's a habit as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, once this campaign's over and I actually have things to sell, I'll revamp it. But
cool. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it.
hey, thanks
This
for
was
having me.
fun. I can't wait to see it in print. This will be prominent on my bookshelf as people walk by, and I'm like, and if you flip through it to page whatever I'm on,
That's right.
um, yeah. So if you want to pop on at the end, or
Yeah.
if you want to talk about anything else later on, let me know. Or whenever you're done with this on the next campaign, because like I
Okay.
said, I'm very interested in sort of new approaches to the media. It's a you don't see it often, so it's very interesting to me.
I wish I could come up with a better pitch.
You'll come up with a name.
It's
I'm
hard.
confident. No, no, that's okay. I mean, I get it though. I haven't seen it before, so I mean, how often can you say that you haven't seen like a specific kind of format? So it's very cool. All right, thanks
Cool.
everybody in chat. I appreciate it. I will be at a Comic Con, SuperCon in DuBois, PA this Saturday. So if you're in Central PA, pop in and say hi. I'll have some things to sell. Um, and I think that's it. If not, catch me on Twitter and YouTube. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Brandon. Or Mark, sorry. Bye.
Bye.